services for the ambulance service in Greece, but I also have the honor of being the chair of the European Emergency Number Association Advisory Board. On behalf of my two vice chairs, Dieter and Mladen, who I'm sure you all meet during the conference, as well as the entire EENA team, I would like to wish all of you a very warm welcome to our EENA Conference 2015 here in the historic city of Bucharest. Last year, in my introduction speech, I mentioned that it was the biggest conference ever. Well, guess what? This year, I have the great pleasure of saying it again. This is the biggest EENA conference ever, and we will welcome more than 450 delegates to our three-day event. I welcome our delegates from all over Europe, naturally, but also I especially welcome our delegates from further afar. Good morning to our emergency services friends from Australia, Azerbaijan, Ecuador, Egypt, Georgia, India, Kuwait, Lebanon, Malaysia, New Zealand, Thailand, my close friends from Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. We greatly appreciate the time you have taken to travel here and for the new perspectives which you will share with us. We can learn from you and you can learn from us, we hope. But this year we're also introducing a new innovation like the new format of the 112 Awards ceremony. That is not a gala dinner anymore, unfortunately from some of us who like food. But it is instead preceded by a 2-hour networking cocktail reception, and an event app is the new innovation, all giving you more opportunities to network. So let me first share with you some safety and housekeeping information. First, please ensure that your mobile phones are on silent at least. And that's also a good advice. The hotel manager has informed me that there are no fire drills. So if you hear a fire alarm, it is a real fire alarm. Please follow the instructions of the hotel staff from there on. And please note the fire exits in the room. So there are 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this, besides looking blocked, it is not blocked. You can open it and get out in case of emergency. I have personally checked it myself 2 minutes ago. Okay, this is all the housekeeping information. So without any further delay, let me now give the floor to Dr. Raed Arafat, Secretary of State, Head of the Department for Emergency Situations and the Ministry of Internal Affairs in Romania. Dr. Arafat.
Thank you. Good morning. And first of all, I'd like to welcome you to Romania. I assure you that we ordered better weather starting tomorrow. So today we want to keep you in the rooms. The weather will not be very nice, but starting this afternoon, we hope tomorrow the weather will be nice. It will give you the chance to see our beautiful city, Bucharest, and to go to the center and see many things that worth being seen. Of course, after you participate in the conference sessions and meetings. 112 is not a simple number. It's an emergency service by its own, and it is part of a whole system, because 112 alone can do nothing if you don't have under it and behind it and around it all the services that respond to the emergencies when the call is coming to 112. So I think that we have done a lot of steps in Romania in the last years. The 112 in Romania is a national number. It is integrated nationally. It is run by a very professional agency, the Special Telecommunications Service, of which we have the director here, Mr. Opriș. And this number in Romania is now the only number that you can call for emergencies, because we succeeded by 2007-2008 to eliminate all parallel calling numbers in Romania. And the only number now that you call for any emergency, whether it is police, fire, medical, and so on, is 112. You can transfer calls to any county, from any county to any city, and so on. So it is really a fully national integrated system. But of course, I hope in the future to see more involvement in the issue of dispatching, not only in the issue of call taking, because call taking is just the first step to the response to the person who's calling for help. I want to share with you a story, which I was telling Gary last night, and he said, this is a very nice story, and I'm going to show you how 112 works in Romania, and how people have confidence in it. About 2 years ago, a colleague of ours, a doctor, going out of the operation theater in a maternity, he collapsed, and he went into a cardiac arrest. Of course, everyone around him was stressed. It's a maternity, it deals only with the births, with things like this. So when the doctor collapsed, one of the ladies, one of the cleaning ladies, she dialed 112. Of course, his colleagues were trying to help and so on, and to start resuscitation. By dialing 112, even if they were in a hospital, the 112 gave it to the fire service, which are the owner of the conference in such cases. And a first responder unit was dispatched immediately to the hospital. And the firefighters went into the hospital, and they were the ones who applied the first 2 defibrillations to the patient. And by the time the mobile intensive care unit arrived, he already had pulse. And I can tell you that he's now working back in the hospital, and he's operating, and he's very fine. So the confidence in 112, the reaction to call 112 have been built up very well into the population in Romania. And once you see something, the only thing they think of is take and dial 112 if it is an emergency. They dial it for non-emergencies also, but this happens everywhere in the world. So I think that the importance of this meeting is that we can share. We can share information, we can share ideas, we can share future ideas, but we can share experiences and mistakes as well. Because it's very important to listen to what each one of us have done as mistakes, besides of what we have done as successes, so that we can avoid the mistakes in the future. I want to thank EENA for considering Bucharest to have the conference here. I collaborate with them since a long time, as 112 Romania collaborates with them since a long time. And I think that EENA have done a huge service for emergencies and emergency response in Europe, and maybe not only in Europe. Because by facilitating these meetings, they succeeded to bring us together and to make us exchange our ideas and our projects and make things easier for development for each one of us. So thank you very much, Gary. Thank you, EENA. Thank you all for coming here, and I hope that you will have a very successful and useful conference in Romania. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raed. Raed, apart from the other titles, has a title that is most close to his heart. And I'm happy that I share that title with him. We're both emergency physicians. The difference is, Raed realized that it's not enough to practice medicine if you want to change the emergency physician's role in a situation in a country. So he has a mission in the world, and a successful one, and I thank him for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now give the floor to Mrs. Adina-Ioana Valean, who's Vice President of the European Parliament. But for us, it's one of the most active 112 supporters in Brussels for many, many years. Mrs. Valean, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Demetrios. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bucharest. I'm very pleased to have this conference hosted by my country, and I am grateful also to EENA for arranging this conference in Bucharest. I am absolutely sure that having such a great panel of experts in your conference, you will share, of course, the best practices, you will exchange opinions and enrich your experience with what each of you is actually doing in its own country. I am very proud to be a long supporter of 112 as a politician in Brussels. Since the first year I entered in the European Parliament, I met the people from EENA and I was supporting them since in what a politician in Brussels can do. Because 112 it is the unique number, emergency number at European level. And after 20 years of its existence, we still have a big part of Europeans not actually knowing that this is a unique number across Europe. So it is for politicians in Brussels trying to do more in order to raise awareness, because raising awareness is part of saving lives. Back in 2009, I managed, through my activity in the Telecom and Industry Committee in the European Parliament, to put forward an amendment to the roaming regulation, which allows a citizen traveling from one country to another to receive a text informing or reminding him or her the fact that 112 is the emergency number in the country they go. This is something, it is small, but it is important for raising awareness. And it shows an example on what we can do at the legislation level in trying to promote better 112. This year, in my new capacity as the Vice President of the Parliament, I started a new idea coming from EENA with my staff in the office and the EENA staff. We started the AIR campaign across Europe. We've been asking air operators and airports to raise awareness on 112 through banners, magazines, announcements in the airport, and we are still hoping that this will increase. We have a lot of response and help in this regard, and we do believe this is going to also increase. In the same idea, in October, I will support EENA through a workshop in Brussels, and I will host a Meet Your MEP event, which will give the emergency services from each country the possibility to meet with their members of the parliament and representatives, trying to get a better knowledge of what is actually happening in each country and what is needed still to be done. This is the way I understand as politician to respond to a social need, to people who are absolutely amazing, people who are working in emergency and trying to help finally have better services and save lives. Before I close, I want to mention something which is very dear to me. I'm trying through European legislation, as I did, for example, through eCall, to push for having a colored location. Because right now we do have the technology which would allow us to have a better location of a call to an emergency service. You heard the Dr. Arafat giving you one of the best examples of how 112, a success story. But we also had in Romania a bad story. When we had an air crash with doctors, they survived the crash, but they couldn't survive the mountain because we couldn't get there fast enough. Even they had the intelligent phones, but they couldn't give exactly the location to be found fast enough. This is the type of story we understand, and I'm insisting and pleading to all the legislators to push for our location in order to have a better knowledge where the emergency is. For us in Brussels, this is also something we are trying to work hard to achieve, at least at legislation from European level. But it can be done at national level, so it's not necessary to come from Brussels. Anyway, Thank you very much for being in Bucharest. Thank you very much for EENA to come here. I hope you will enjoy your stay in Bucharest, and I wish you a very successful conference. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Valean. Now you know every time that you receive the SMS when you go to a different European country about 112. Who is behind that? Thank you indeed. The EENA conference is a very special event, one with a very unique atmosphere. I sensed this very special atmosphere around the hotel yesterday as old and new friends met each other over a beer. The conference is the occasion when we reflect on the issues that affect our work, our everyday work, and share our experience. But of course, remember, this is your conference. Our conference program this year is very exciting with many new and interesting topics, such as about the Internet of Things, drones, crowdsourcing, to name but a few. You will make it a success by getting involved, reaching out to the speakers, questioning them, visiting the sponsor stands, and of course by enjoying the wonderful facilities. There are also a lot of EENA members who support the event through their generous sponsorship. Of course, we recognize their wise decision in deciding to sponsor the event, and we're very grateful for their continuing support of what EENA is striving to achieve. Namely, this year our gold sponsors are Avaya, Ericsson, Frequentis, InstaDevSec, Intrado, Motorola Solutions, OnStar, and TeamNet. So a big applause to them, if you may. Our silver sponsors are Atos, Beta IT Group, Carmenta, Devryware, Esri, Ford, Optima, Regola, Subgroup, and Waytech. Thank you again. These organizations have stands in the main exhibition areas outside, and I would encourage you to take the time to visit them and to see and hear about the products